Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, with a bombshell report around Jacobe Meyers. And it sounds like, according to Rickey Scoops, that the Raiders and Jacobe Meyers might be parting ways here in just a little bit. Now, if you're not already subscribed to the Raiders Report, make sure you click that subscribe button no matter what the news is. I'm going to do my best to keep you guys up to date. So coming up here on today's show, I'm going to go into the latest around Jacobe Meyers and all the trade buzz that is happening literally right now as we speak. I'll tell you why it makes sense for the Raiders to trade him, and I'll also tell you what you better get back in return, because you better get a certain value if you trade away Jacobe Meyers, and if you don't get that value, it is almost a fireable offense for this organization. Then, at the very end of today's show, I know that the Raiders are going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, guess what? I got some news that Chiefs fans are going to hate. And I got some news that Raiders fans are going to love. If you need hope going into the Week 7 game up against the Kansas City Chiefs, this is going to be the show that you need to watch until the very, very end. So let's talk about the report that literally ended up just dropping down. So Rickey Scoops on Twitter, he is also known as the Dog. You can take him as a credible source. I am 100% going to take him as a credible source, because the amount of stories that he has gotten before all these NFL insiders, I think when you see all the stories that he's gotten, especially the Micah Parsons one, you got to at least take what he's saying and you got to go, all right, let's talk about it. So the story is, and this is a tweet again from Rickey Scoops on Twitter, it says, quote, "It sounds like Raiders wide receiver Jacobe Meyers is being traded out of town and won't be in silver and black much longer." He ends up tweeting that out. I will tell you this. I have messaged Rickey. I have DM'd him. I have not heard back a response yet. And if I end up hearing something back, I will do my best to keep you guys up to date. That's why you should give me a follow on social media at Mitchell Renz 365. But then he follows it up with, "The Patriots have been on the phone with teams and are aggressively looking to trade for a wide receiver before the deadline. Sounds like Drake may be getting another weapon. Hashtag New England Patriots." So to me, I do wonder if the team that could potentially be looking to trade for Jacobe Meyers is the New England Patriots, the team that Jacobe was originally on, and the guy that traded for Jacobe was Josh McDaniels. Where's McDaniels now? He's now the offensive coordinator over there in New England. I mean, the Patriots have been looking really solid this season. They've won a bunch of games. They just took care of business up against the Buffalo Bills, and I almost wonder if they're sitting here going, well, maybe we need an extra receiver. Maybe we need an extra slot guy in Jacobe, and quite frankly, a very good teammate and somebody that, they would give a contract extension to. So, you're sitting here right now, and I know that it's been reported. It was reported by Jeremy Fowler that the Raiders were listening to the trade offers. It's been reported by Adam Schefter that the Raiders have been listening to offers. The video that I put out early this morning was also around Jacobe Meyers and a lot of the buzz that is being told right now. And I essentially said on that video that the reason why it makes sense for the Raiders to trade him away is, reason number one, you're a 2-4 football team. I don't want the Raiders really to trade him away, but it does make sense if you're able to get a certain draft pick, which we'll talk about here in a second. But, you're a 2-4 football team. You're somewhat in a rebuild right now, so it makes sense to move on from a guy that already asked to be traded. He asked to be traded earlier this offseason. You told him no, and he wants a brand new contract. He's got $0 million guaranteed, and he's going to be on, hit the open market next season. If you're the Raiders and you know that you're not going to bring him back, and if you know that you're already done with him, then that's why this trade does make at least a little bit of sense. My question is, and this is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show, and it's a very important question. What would you want in return for Jacobe Meyers if the Raiders ended up trading him? You're about to get it with the YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. My answer is going to be coming up here after this YouTube ad break. If you're watching this show right now, and if your answer is not at least a 4th-round pick, then you haven't been subscribed to the Raiders Report and you haven't been watching this program. And I'm not trying to throw you under the bus at all, but I do always say that you will become a smarter Raiders fan if you watch this program. And that light bulb should have went off in your head. The light bulb of what it should cost to get Jacobe Meyers should go off in your head. And if you're sitting here going, well, Mitch, let's just take a 5th-round pick. Let's just take a 6th-round pick. Let's just take a 7th-round pick, because he's not going to be coming back next season. And the Raiders drafted Dante Thornton, and they drafted Jack Besh, and there's been a lot of positivity around Trey Tucker. don't get me wrong. I understand that you want to get something, but that's not the right answer. Because of the new comp formula, the pick comp formula, if Jacobe Meyers finishes the season with the Raiders based on the way that he's played this season, you're going to get a 4th-round comp pick next off season. So because the NFL has been doing this a lot more, it's basically, to reward teams to try to build some of the younger players. It's also rewarding some of these veterans for, teams that basically want to take on these larger contracts for these veterans. So they implemented this new comp pick compensatory, pick formula. But a 4th round pick, okay, a 4th round comp pick is the absolute bottom minimum of what the Raiders should get here. So if you see the trade comes in and the Raiders don't get a 4th round pick, that's almost malpractice. Not almost, it is. To me, it's malpractice by the Raiders because you could let Jacoby finish out the entire season. And that's important because your investments that you've already made as an organization are Chip Kelly, the highest paid OC in the NFL, your quarterback in Geno Smith, and you as an organization and the Raiders need to make sure that those investments that you've made are, going in the right direction. And having Jacobe Meyers on your team assures that, you're going in the right direction. But at the exact same time, though, if you're the Raiders and you're like, well, we're not getting anything better than a 4th round pick, I don't really know why you would end up trading them away then. Why would you trade away a player when you know if you keep him on the team, you're going to be able to get a higher draft pick in next year's draft by just keeping him on the roster? Now, what I said in my video that I did this morning was I said there was a 51% chance that he stays and there's a 49% chance that he's traded because based on a lot of the things that I heard, there weren't teams that were throwing out 3rd round picks. I did say that if the Raiders are offered a 4th or a 3rd round pick, you can essentially kiss Jacobe Meyers goodbye. Now, will that happen? Only time's going to tell. But getting this big-time report coming in here from Rickey that, again, it says, quote, it sounds like Raiders wide receiver Jacobe Meyers is being traded out of town and won't be in silver and black much longer. For somebody that has gotten the amount of breaking stories correct, I think you should look at that tweet, you should look at that report and go, man, that's big news. And always, if the Raiders end up making a deal, if the trade ends up going down, make sure you're here. We're going to talk about it. I'll be going live on the Raiders Report. If it happens now, if it happens 5 hours from now, if it happens at 1 o'clock in the morning, I don't care. I will be here. I will be live, and we're going to be talking about it. Coming up next here on the show, let's talk about some good news now, right? I mean, the Jacobe Meyers stuff is, I'm not totally surprised, but at the same time, it is a little bit of a frustrating conversation that we're having because, again, I don't really want the Raiders to move on from Jacobe. Quite frankly, I think, you should try to keep a guy that does everything that you're asking him to do and is the definition of what the compete mentality is. But, hey, what do I know? And I'm not going to lie to you. I need a smile on my face. And I saw something today, I heard something today, and it made me smile. So coming up next here on this show, we're going to get into the news that I promise you is going to make you smile. Before I get into it, though, today's show sponsored by Panda Sups, and they got 2 things that I want to tell you about. Not only if you use code Raiders are you going to be able to save 25% off on the best workout supplements on the market, but they have a brand new product, okay? And the brand new product is their Sleepy, and it comes in 3 new flavors. It is their citrus mango, their green apple, and their mixed berry. If you're wondering, well, what are the key benefits of it? You fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, which I definitely need, promote relaxation, and calm the mind at bedtime. I don't know about y'all, I'm always on my phone scrolling. Improve sleep quality, restorative sleep, support mood balance, cognitive clarity, enhance daytime recovery, and overall well-being. Also, one of the other things that they have is their all-new Fuel Premium Protein. It's Caramel Ice Cream Crunch with caramel cookie gem inclusions. It is a limited edition. Panda Fuel Caramel Ice Cream Crunch is a limited edition scoop of bliss in a shaker. Imagine vanilla laced with golden caramel swirls packed with crunchy Biscoff cookie gems. Oh, dude, that sounds gas. This isn't just another protein powder. It's a creamy, crave-worthy treat that satisfies your sweet tooth. From post-workout recovery to a midday pick-me-up or a late-night dessert, 30 grams of protein has never tasted this indulgent. So go try out Panda Sups. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Use code Raiders for 25% off. All right, let's get into the news that I'm hoping is going to end up making you smile. And the news is the Raiders are 2-0 all time against the Chiefs in Arrowhead when Clete Blakeman is the referee. Well, guess what? The referee for the Raiders game this weekend up against the Kansas City Chiefs is Clete Blakeman. The Raiders, the last two games they played in the Arrowhead, they won those games. It was the Christmas game, and it was the October 11th game in 2020, led by Derek Carr. So I know that referees are talked about a lot in regards to Kansas City, and I know that going into Arrowhead is never an easy thing. But it's Chiefs week. It's always going to be FKC, and I've just found myself sitting here going, I want to be a hopeful Raider fan. I want to be a hopeful Raider fan. Give me something that I can hope for. Well, guess what? There's something that you can hope for. The Raiders are 2-0 all time with Clete Blakeman as the ref at Arrowhead, and their wins were on Christmas, and their wins were on October 11th, 2020. But do we remember how those games went? Aidan O'Connell and the Raiders won 20-14 over the Chiefs on Christmas. AOC threw for 62 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but also a fumble recovery for a touchdown. The Jack Jones interception. You go back, you look at Zamir White. He had a very, very heavily run game. And I think with the way that the Raiders are playing right now, I know that we're basically, I think, 10 to 11 point dogs, and doesn't surprise me at all. We are also 10 or 11 point dogs on that Christmas game. If AOC can beat the Chiefs throwing for 62 yards, and that's it. It was 9-21, and Zamir White picked up a bunch of yards on the ground. Why can't the Raiders come away with a dub, right? Then also you look at the other game. This one was crazy. 40-32 win over the Chiefs, and that was a game, that Derek Carr just absolutely slung the pill and outperformed Mahomes. But the one common thing that I've seen in both of those games is the Raiders' ability to get after Patrick. And you're going to have to fluster him. You're going to have to hit him. You're going to have to make him feel uncomfortable. And if you do that and you force the turnovers, well, then I think that the Raiders have a shot to win that football game. All right, y'all, before I get on out of here, I did just want to say again, I mentioned this yesterday on the show, but the Raiders, they did add to their practice squad McClendon Curtis. He played in 5 games for the Seattle Seahawks from 2023 to 2024. More of just a depth piece, again, only on the practice squad. They ended up moving on from Brad Robbins, but I do wonder, because we're talking a lot about Jakobi today, and one of the things that I said yesterday was another player that could potentially be dealt is Dylan Parham. And because Dylan Parham is in the final year of his contract, because the Raiders like Alex Kappa, I do wonder if Parham is another name to just, at least keep in mind. All right, y'all, enjoy the rest of your day. I wanted to get you guys this video, and literally I just saw the report from Rickey Scoops, and I said, shit, I'm just going to film something real quick here and get it out to the nation, because I think that, honestly, every single person from Raider Nation should see that report there from Rickey Scoops. Also, if you're not doing anything tonight, Game 3, ALCS, Mariners, Blue Jays. Right now, Seattle leads 2-0. I'm going to be watching that game. Hopefully, y'all are going to be watching that game. And if you want to let me know who you're rooting for, that's how I'm going to know you made it this far in the video. If you're looking for even more content around the silver and black, make sure you click the subscribe button right here. I promise you, I got you up to date. Then, if you're looking for even more videos, YouTube's going to recommend these two bad boys for you. Essentially, it was like, oh, if you like this video, then I think that you're going to like these videos. If you bleed silver and black, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you watch those videos.